All right, so this is a good place for us to kind of discuss this new feature of SNR. We've put it in the context of the UltraLab. And if you recall, the UltraLab is where we take all of the most commonly used parameters that impact SNR and time and resolution, RF, all of those things, and put them in one interface. And you'll notice I'm using the ScanLab interface, so it doesn't look like a Siemens or a GE or a Philips. But inside of here, we can dynamically translate between any one. So for me, I'm a Siemens guy, so I'm going to just show you in this context. One of the main problems is that when you do change parameters on your MRI machine, there's only a handful of them that you're actually going to see impact your relative SNR calculator, which actually is not the case. Because in ScanLab of how we acquire our data, we know ahead of time what each slice is actually made up in 3D space. And so in this case, now what I can do is I can manipulate these parameters and I can set, in this case, a protocol. So on purpose here, let's go ahead and we will calculate, I don't know, at 1.5. Sure, we're going to change. I'm going to turn on IPAT. Because one of the things, this is parallel imaging. One of the things that I always have been challenged for inside of ScanLab is sure, you can make an image that only takes 30 seconds long, but it's my job to show you that that image is not going to be good. And because anyone can manipulate parameters, and we even put this here to where you can be able to say, okay, how am I going to make this scan time as short as possible? These are the things that are going to do this. But there has to be, inside of ScanLab, there has to be cause and effect. There has to be. And so what I'm doing is I'm purposefully making this, this scan signal starved, to be honest. And so I'm at 1.5, and I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to add some more slices here. Perfect. Now, later on, in real life, in practice, I can go through and sit there and say, well, retrospectively, that was not a very good decision. I had to repeat the study, had to repeat the sequence. That's not what we really want to do. And you really don't have the full understanding of what even impacts SNR anyway, because in real life, TE impacts SNR, TR impacts SNR, the distance factor, the slice thickness and the distance factor combined, the oversampling, all of those things are gigantic. They have gigantic implications on SNR, but they're not actually included in the calculator on your vendor's SNR calculation. And so just for instance, you can go through and say, I'm going to scan this thing, and sure, axial T2, let's say. Okay, great. I purposefully made this not good, but a lot of us don't get the option to be able to change anything first of all, but we're always overly dependent on a protocol, and we're overly dependent on this number that you're going to see is going to pop up here in a second, which is as soon as I save this, our relative SNR calculator. So this is what you're used to seeing. I'm just saying that you're not given the whole picture. But for us, you actually are. So we give you a quantitative SNR value, and whatever I do from here, some things change it immediately, but some things don't. So for instance, if I were to change my averages, see how it will tell me how I've actually added 41% of SNR based on averages. But if you're using a vendor, I can actually change my TR to be able to go up and say, let's say 4,000 millisecond TR instead. Normally, it would be no change, but for us, I'm going to recalculate this, and it will tell me, based off of the exact same slice geometry, it's going to go through slice by slice, and because some of these slices are actually containing cerebral spinal fluid, which has a long T1 recovery time, you'll see that just making that change in these slices from 3,500 milliseconds to 4,000 milliseconds, I've seen a very large change in regards to my overall SNR. So if I continue on, let's say take this to 90. And I also changed my averages as well, but you'll see how all of this plays into the overall SNR rather than just a few parameters, you can actually see true cause and effect. If I were to change the exact same parameters, but I were to change it to 3T, you'll see here, if I change to our 3T and I said scan or calculate at this point, the exact same parameters, except for, in this case, our bandwidth. We changed the bandwidth as a default in this area. But you'll see, just based off of these two things that I've just done, at 3T, I've experienced a 1.81, 181% increase relative to my saved protocol at 1.5. So I think it's going to cause a big paradigm shift when it comes to protocol management, be able to make quick decisions when patients really call for it, really being able to understand how these parameters impact our desired patient outcomes. I think this is a big step forward for us in ScanLab and for MRI as a whole. So I hope you agree, and thank you for your interest in what it is we're doing in ScanLab.